Okay, welcome everybody here to the Fire Exec Committee meeting, Monday, August 11th, 2025. And for everybody's information, this meeting will be live streamed and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page. If anybody has a pecuniary interest, you can declare it now or any time throughout the Item number 3 on the agenda tonight is the adoption of the minutes. And that was moved by Gary Atkinson, seconded by Councillor Christian Rodriguez. That the minutes be adopted by the Fire Exec Committee and that those confidential minutes of the closed session of committee remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. We have the Fire Exec Committee minutes of June the 9th, 2025, and the Fire Exec Committee closed meeting minutes of June the 9th, 2025. So if anybody have any questions on those? Take just a second to take a look at them again. Any corrections or any changes you'd like to see? Gary?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor of the motion? Thank you, Gary. Okay. On here. Business arising from the previous minutes. 4.1, smoke alarm campaign results. You will.
To the chair. So we did do our first smoke alarm campaign in quite a few years. July the 22nd, we had some firefighters go door to door on the south end of the former village of Wyoming, south of the tracks. And July the 24th, members from the Kamlaki station went around in the Hillsborough Beach area. We will have a more formal report. Be the third quarter for July. July will fall in the third quarter. We'll have more details on what our numbers were in there. Thank you to the firefighters who did that. It takes a lot of resources, and I think it was really positive feedback. We got a lot of positive feedback from our residents, but also firefighters got a chance to look at some areas of the municipality that they may not have been familiar with in the past. So it's a win-win for us.
Gary, any question?
Just a question, Mr. Chair, through you to Chief Davidson. Did you find that many people were lacking the devices and or more of an education, was it?
Through the chair, I would be, I guess, a little bit careful how I answer that until we see the exact numbers. We did see in some areas where it seemed as though we installed a few more than we thought we would have, but once we get all the numbers together, I think we'll be able to give a bit better insight. What we did find was in a more grid laid out street type area like we have in the former village of Wyoming area, as opposed to the Hillsborough Beach area, you can hit a lot more houses in a lot less time. So, any numbers that we have are slightly skewed by just because you don't get to as many houses in those types of areas like Hillsborough Beach, but they are very important for us to get in there and spread some and share some news and some information about smoke alarms and CO alarms, but again, also for our firefighters to get in, and we get it to go in with our apparatus and turn them around and see how they fit in some of our smaller neighborhoods. So that's it.
I will comment to wrap this up that I've had some residents reach out and say that they're, how appreciative they were of the firefighters coming around. That's positive.
That's really good. Yeah, we had all positive feedback from the people we talked to. And I will say, you know, when we started this years ago, back early 2000s, we did a campaign and it wasn't all positive. So this was certainly very positive, and I think generally speaking, our residents understand the requirements to have smoke alarms and see the benefits. So it seems to be a lot better received than it used to be.
Kristen?
Yes, thank you. I think on your Hillsborough one too, you the storm.
We sure did run into it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
It cut it,
experienced the same storm.
it cut it a little bit short, and we did, thank you for bringing that up. We did learn some. Well, first of all, like I said, with the layout of streets and the challenges of, you know, you're not gonna get to as many houses in those types of cottage areas. And also if it's raining and we're trying to carry paperwork and whatnot, it's just, you might as well go back to the station because it is possible. So yeah, we're learning, and some of us are relearning some lessons, so that's good.
So just one more question. In the report that you will bring back, it will, so anybody who did need smoke detectors, you identify whether it was for replacement or just because there was a lack of, or not an understanding of where they belong in a home type of thing?
We will identify how many places we were at, how many were code compliant, and how many we gave out.
Okay. Just be nice to know if people really do, but a lot of people don't understand expiration.
Yeah, we did a survey when we went, so I just have to make sure that I don't promise anything that I didn't have listed in that survey. But we tried to keep it comprehensive, but fairly basic. In the past, back in the 2000s, we had done a survey that had way too many questions in it. And then when I tried to tabulate the results, it was almost useless because you had too much information to put together. So we're hoping, and we will like, this isn't a one and done. We plan to continue to do this, so we'll rejig as necessary, and it's good to get feedback for sure.
Okay, yeah, you know, these smoke detectors is something that a lot of us don't really think too seriously about until something really happens. And I think it was last fall we had this discussion, and so I thought to myself, well, my home is 22 years old. Of course, we got the wired in, hardwired ones, and I had put lots of the battery operated ones too, because I was getting them from different events I went to, farm safety and stuff like that. Some were being handed out. But, you know, so I went up in there and looked at mine. Well, they were original, like probably people's are, right? So I went to Home Depot and I bought a box of 6. And I think there was something alert. I forget the exact name. But you know what? They were so easy. They actually plugged right into the existing wiring, the ones that were bought 22 years ago. So I replaced all mine, and then of course it was 6 in the box. So my daughter was able to get the other 3. And I think it's only for that whole box is only $100. If you buy them in multiples, they're cheap. So the other question I'll just ask you, like private properties, like trailer parks and stuff like that. Multiple dwellings in some of these places, campgrounds. Do they do their own type of inspections in there, or are we responsible for that?
They don't, through the chair. In our previous campaigns years ago, we did target those seasonal type living, RV type housing. So I've suggested that to the folks that we have that are helping me with prevention that we target that next. So one in each of our fire stations areas. And it'll take quite a few firefighters to do it, so we'll make sure we can get enough commitment, but I think that would definitely be our next target area.
I just add that The flag station was up July 26th at Paradise Valley Campground for an event that they had. And I was making a goal of mine that talk to people, smoke, get pamphlets, and they're smoking CO alarms. And everybody I talked to had smoke, had CO, and most of them even had propane alarms.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I did.
Seems better than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that on Facebook where you're up to Paradise Valley. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that because I saw them all.
No, I have not.
Okay.
Through the chair, if I could add just
Sure.
one more thing, just as a point of order, we. So this was a smoke alarm campaign and I'm pretty passionate about the terminology here, so. Smoke detector, the term smoke detector refers to a device that would be installed on a fire alarm system. Right, it just detects, that's all it does. What we have and what most people have in their homes is a smoke alarm. It does three things. It senses and it processes information, and then it goes beep, 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 makes an audible, sometimes a visual sound. So we're trying to, of course, impress the terminology upon, on the residents, but our firefighters as well, so that we're talking the right language. The Ontario Fire Code speaks to smoke alarms in single family residences, so. It's the difference there.
Well, like I say, we sometimes don't place a lot of importance on it, but very recently, as last week, I was up north to my place. And the place I always go for breakfast, it's a restaurant and motel. Forget how many, maybe 15 units. And the day before it burnt down. And actually, talking to the owner there, and it was smoke alarms that certainly warned them. Of course, they're out kind of in a rural area, but that smoke alarms, some of them were still going off the next day in the other units. So, that was a good thing. Nobody got hurt. Everybody got out at 1 or 1:30 in the morning. So extremely important. Yes, Kristen.
Um, follow up on your Paradise. I did see them all there. Was it something Paradise promoted and invited you, or?
They have a touch a truck event
Oh.
going through that probably about 5 years now or so.
Oh,
And they invite the fire department and PPP there. Fortunately, that MES couldn't make it, but then there's other trucks and hydro trucks and farm vehicles and
oh, nice. Okay.
Good.
And to your statement on smoke detector versus smoke alarm, is when you go into Canadian Tire, are you gonna find something different than a smoke alarm?
No,
Not just Canadian Tire anywhere.
all you will find in your retail outlets, in your usual retail outlets, is the standard smoke alarm, and it'll either be hardwired or battery operated.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess one more question. Do you have to have hardwired alarms?
Through the chair, so these are all good questions and ones that we find, people want to know about. So that it's all dictated by the Ontario Building Code. So I don't have the date in front of me, but from 1986-ish on, they started to require them in the Ontario Building Code that you have hardwired interconnected alarms. Then but that's not in the fire code. The fire code requires battery operated alarms unless you required them through the building code.
Building code.
So we always have to make sure that we're aware of how old the home is and what the original requirement is, because you can't take an alarm that was a hardwired alarm and replace it with a battery operated alarm. The Ontario Fire Code says you can't decrease the level of safety there. So that's one thing that we're watching for all the time.
Okay, that's interesting. Repeat that. So what you're saying is that if you have a hardwired alarm, according to the building code,
According to
that
the
alarm
code,
burns out, or you cannot just put a battery one beside it and call it. You
That's
have to
right.
put another hardwired back in.
that's correct.
Okay, all right. That's certainly good news. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and those are the questions we get when we're out there. It's nice that firefighters are becoming more educated all the time on it, and they're able to share some.
Thank you.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I appreciate that. Fire code. I think to me, it's more important just to have a working smoke detector regardless. I think that, or alarm, sorry, alarm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
4.2, Plympton Shores Fire Agreement negotiations, next steps.
I can speak very briefly to that. As far as I know, we're still waiting for more information from Plympton Shores. So as is, we're just following the old agreement and the old fee schedule.
Okay, so, yeah, I just can't recall all the details. Normally gonna bring them up here because you're in negotiation process, but,
Yeah, it was CIO was working with their CIO to get the process moving
Yeah.
further, so. Which just left.
yeah, I'll have to update myself on that one to know what some of the things that they were requesting.
There was, it looked like it was going to be the same area, but increase in rates.
Yeah, that's the part yeah.
Well, I mean, my last recollection of it from the CA was went nowhere. And I'm like, so what are we looking at doing going, I mean, we're already gonna September here in a year end and maybe another increase here. So I think we need some hard answer of what we intend on doing, whether we accept all these increases going forward or what our options are. I don't think we're at a point. I mean, that was what I understood from the last update. I'm not sure if anybody knows or not, but the Shores fire just
That's what.
through the committee of a whole they have, I think it was July 29th meeting. They have this whole report on their fire departments happening. They're actually looking at relocating or amalgamating the buildings because they have 5. I'm using one as training detox center. Or detox. Decontamination, thank you. So I think they've got some big things happening there too that might actually impact us as well. So I think that's important to look at that report in context of whether it does affect what's happening in the jurisdiction as well.
Did
They
see
have
some,
big costs that we're just not, and apparently fire trucks have gone through the roof because of the tariffs.
Hmm.
yeah.
They already had one committed for Arcona, but it's not looking good for a lot of the fire departments with these tariffs as well, so.
Well, all I can say about this particular one is like, this is not the first time that we've dealt with this. Time trials, all the above. Gonna get into a bunch of details, but I know at the time, the information we got was they're not budging. Well, since then, I haven't heard anything about it, and I think that some of these type of things, at this day and age and what we're all going through budget wise, we need to stand firm also. And so I don't know what's going on in negotiation, but I guess maybe it's time I get a little more information from the CAO.
I think all of us,
Pardon me?
all of us.
Oh, yeah, oh, no, all of us.
Can I make one more statement? It did note in that report that they had submitted presentation. That they were originally on their 10-year master plan, they were looking at purchasing a ladder truck. But they're now looking at backing away from that because of the costs. I'm just wondering if that's something, we have a ladder truck, which hopefully is useful now. That maybe it's something that we have that could be a benefit in sharing with them. To help offset some of these costs as well.
Good point. Do we have that kind of agreement now, Will? If they requested our ladder, we don't have an agreement, but if like us with petroleum.
Mutual aid, we
Mutual.
would take it.
Yeah.
Even though they don't have one to mutually respond, we have pretty but I would say pretty good relationships with our neighbors and
Mhm.
limit that. If they ask for it, we would take it.
No, I'm not trying to suggest we would put it hostage, but we do have something that benefits. We need to work mutually. I mean, because we're the one paying a big fees here. Anyway,
Mr. Mayor, do you have any comments on this agreement? Have you heard?
No, I think it's still in the hands of between the CAOs have been talking. I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, okay, and neither do I. So, okay, we'll talk to CAO back, unless Norma has any. Okay, moving down to accounts, 5.1, let's have a look at the June payables first. Kirsten, do you have any questions on the June pay?
I do just on the MTO inspections. I'm trying to understand in our budget, thought maybe those were going up significantly, is that correct? It appears that sometimes they are and sometimes they are, they're kind of all over the place. I know there's some repairs included with these, but in general, without repairs, what is that inspection looking like for each of those trucks?
Through the chair. Yeah, so I had the same thought as Councillor Rodriguez. And I was curious to see if we were on track. So that safety inspection oil change for truck 9, now that's just a pickup truck. We had budgeted $1,040. Spent $721.13. The one for rescue 6. It had a few other items on it. So we had budgeted $2,500 there and it was almost 3,000. So I think we were pretty close with our budgeting on the increases from what I'm seeing. I think there's some on the July as well. That I sort of kept track of.
So on the truck 6, but it's rescue.
Yeah.
So the 2,500 we budgeted for was just for the inspection, wasn't it? Portion, but it needed some, obviously some items to pass that inspection.
Yeah, and I think once we sort of rejuvenate our budget, rejig our budget to make it better than it has been in the past, all those need to just be in one category. There doesn't need to be this much for an oil change and this much for an inspection, and that's maintenance to that apparatus, so it should come up the same down. Whereas now we do some other it'll allow for different types of maintenance.
Exactly, that's kind of
So-
where I'm going with this is. We budgeted 2,500 for inspection, but then we have a different category for maintenance. What we thought maintenance for the year might cost on that vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know where the inspection cost actually comes in when everything's grouped in.
Some of these, and this may be one that will get where the invoice will get separated out so that it can come out of the MTL inspection account as well as
Mhm.
account for that vehicle. Which eventually it will all just go into one. When we redo our motion, would be my suggestion.
Might as well move right on to July then. If you have any questions on July,
I don't, I did, because we probably just be a repeat.
nothing on there? Okay, Mr. Mayor?
I have no questions. I think my my one question for June was been answered, so I have nothing for July.
Okay.
For, the ladder trucks. Dare I ask?
I wondered how you were gonna go by that.
Yeah,
Is it in July?
I felt like it
I
was.
think it is.
It must be June.
4,000.
Yeah, June, so I can give you a bit of a rundown on that if you'd like. through the chair, the monitor on that truck has motors that move it. That move the monitor so you can move the water stream, and we found that they were not working, so. That company come in and that's cost.
But we're done.
We are done until the next thing breaks, yes.
The annual inspection.
You know,
So for between now and the annual inspection, is it workable?
Tell them it's nothing.
Sure.
People can drive it and use it?
Service.
It's in service, full service.
that's probably through the chair, that's something that probably should be noted for the committee that. So District Chief Freer just said that it is in service now, ladder 3 is in service. Yeah, I don't remember the date, I sent it to.
So I do have a question, if we may, on the inspection. Someone asked this question, I forget how to ask it because I'm so academic, technical at this. When they inspected, did they go by hours of usage or is it like a flat rate? Because I understand there's a big difference in cost between the two.
As far as labor. So.
Certification.
Okay, so it's an annual inspection. Doesn't matter how many times you use the truck. In that time, it just gets inspected annually. The increase to the MTO is basically, as they've explained it to me, is now they have to have 2 technicians on it. One of them has to hold a video camera while the other one does the work. So you have 2 technicians and everything is documented. There's never cutting, not that there was,
There's visual
but
evidence.
there's visual evidence of that work's been done. Every wheel's been off. Every brake chamber's been looked at.
Yeah, so that was the right way to ask that question. I'm replaying it. Because sometimes, I guess, with ladder trucks, it's hours per usage of this ladder. That have to be inspected or something.
No.
Some of them work that way, but if yours doesn't, that's good to know.
Yeah, so through the chair, I think what Chief Davidson's talking about is the vehicle portion of it, like driving, the geo portion is this inspection. The latter is an annual certification inspection, however you want to describe it. It's done yearly as well, not based on hours. It's just once a year it becomes
Doesn't matter how many times you use it or.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because apparently some are per hour used.
Yeah, not fire service aerials.
It was specific.
Check your facts on that.
Well, he was the fire ladder guy in London. I would hope he's credible.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, thank you.
I was gonna ask the same question on the ladder truck, where does it end? I mean, I'm not sure how much we got into that truck now, but something that was supposed to be minty and be able to jump in here and go. Turning out to be expensive, and I think probably they're a high maintenance.
Absolutely.
Thing in like just with the inspections and everything like that, ladders, that's got to be all inspected, and you want it inspected, sure. Anyway, I won't ask any more questions. Hopefully it doesn't cost us too much more. Other than that, I don't have any other questions. It looks good. We'll be getting into the new budget pretty soon anyways. Okay, if there's no other questions, it was moved by Gary Atkinson, second by Rodriguez, that the Fire Exec Committee receives and approves the payables for June 25, July 2025. Favor? Gary, thank you. Okay, staff reports, 6.1, second quarter report.
Yeah, through the chair, I think that's just a placeholder. We'll have the second quarter report for you at the next meeting.
Thank you, sir. Cool. Number 7, bylaw, no bylaws at this time. Correspondence, no items at this time. Well, that's probably one we could sure put a lot of correspondence in there with all the fire departments across the province, but probably some interesting reading, but we'll let you look it up yourself. Okay, correspondence, firefighter certification. Thank you letter, Plympton-Wyoming. Anybody has any questions on those? Yes.
You're under item nine.
Under item 9.1.
The 9.1, the memo on the 1 year, the certification deadline from the Ontario Fire Marshal. The first sentence threw me, because it says the deadline, this deadline we're trying to reach is July 1, 2026. It says, and with the technical rescue certification deadline following on July 1st, 2028. What is this all about?
So the chair can speak to that. They did it in sort of a twofold rollout. So a lot of the training standards that apply, all fire departments will say, are due July 1st, 2026. So that's gonna catch almost all, well, every department in the province. And then some do technical rescue, like high angle rescue, water rescue, those types of specialized rescues. They put those off, excuse me, until July 1st, 2028. Just to give a little more time. A lot of big cities like Toronto were doing them in-house and didn't have actual provincial certifications. So they, of course, need more time. And probably also for the province to process everything, it was good to spread it out.
Sure. Well, thank you for that clarification. We obviously don't have any specialized. So that July 1st, 2028 will not to Plimpton more service.
We will have some that fall into that standard very minimally, I believe.
What?
Yeah. Well, we have rope rescue. I think we'll I'll have to take a look at that and see what we're gonna do, but there may be some others that that fall into that. There's one that's still being developed, which is vehicle extrication, heavy vehicle extrication. It's probably something we would look at for our department, given the sheer amount of traffic we have on.
Okay, so like some sort of report will come back. Is that the appropriate time?
Yeah,
What's gonna be needed and what kind of costs are involved and time?
it won't be anything outside of our ENR bylaw. So it's what's in our ENR bylaw. We're not looking to expand our services. But I can give you a little bit of a recap on where we're at now with certification if you'd like. Okay. So as you know, we have about 60 volunteer firefighters. To meet our certification deadline of July 1st, 2026 for firefighters, we currently have 5 firefighters in various different stages of the certification process. So when and if we reach that deadline and they haven't become certified yet, they'll be taken back and they will not be able to respond. I'm pretty confident that at least all, if not the large portion of that group, will be through their certification by then. That's not including two new probationary firefighters that are taking their certification training as we speak. Have 2 years to get them onboarded and up to speed with provincial. That's what the regulation allows for. So what my intent is to once we reach the deadline, if we have firefighters not certified, would be to get into a written agreement. I would seek a written agreement with them as to how they plan to reach certification, put a time limit on it. Because like I said, they can't respond if they're not certified. So we would put a time limit on it and then I'd have to reassess it from there. Ultimately, if they're not certified, we'd have to have a relation and firefighters anymore. I can go on. We have 2 officers that are in the same kind of thing in different stages of that certification requirement. because there's certification for firefighters and then certification for officers as supervisors as well. Officers are a bit different. They have rank and duties that aren't just responding. They have, when they're non-emergency, they have a role to play as well. So if we get to that deadline and we have officers who haven't met their certification requirements, they'll have to be say demoted and back to the rank of firefighter. And we'll have to post internally for people to be officers. Now, that's only two and they're in the process. So I think we're in good shape there. That the other thing that affects us there is we can't do what we used to do. We can't promote an officer and then get them certified. So we have to change. We have already done it, but we're changing the way we do things. We're getting them certified in advance and then they're ready to become officers. They get hired as opposed to giving them the job and then training them, certifying. So I still think we're in really good shape, but I want to keep a very close eye on it and, talk to these members as we get closer and closer to the deadline to make sure there's a plan in place. This contract agreement that I talked about, it would have to take into account, there has to be some sort of timeline on it, but it would have to take into account both their schedule and availability of courses. So a few variables there. Questions?
Okay, all done?
Question.
Carry on.
I don't know if I missed it. So of the 60 fire personnel.
Yeah.
Some are officers. And you said there's only two that are officers or two that are in the, I'm trying to understand where we're at in numbers. So of
So
fire.
of 60 in total,
Mhm.
we have 8. Well, we have 16 officers, 17, 18 officers.
Hmm.
Yeah, training division would give us 20, myself would be 21. Sound right, guys? With a full complement. But each station has 4 platoons. Has a captain and a lieutenant. There's a district chief in each station. So of all of those, there's only 2 people who are still in the process.
Oh, everybody else is done.
Everybody's done.
Oh, okay.
We are in, as I reported previously, we're in really good shape, but I just preparing for the meeting, I went through things just to make sure that I'm missing any.
And of the fire, so there's 39 fighters.
Yeah, whatever the difference is there. So then we're looking at 5 who are in various stages. Some of them
5 left to go.
5, yeah, 5 left plus 2 new members.
Right.
So 7.
That's very good shape.
Yeah, we're probably as good or better than anybody in the province, I would say.
Yeah, so further on in the letter, for sure. It said there's over 36,000 certificates have been today. It says there's well, I looked it up actually. 18,281 volunteer firefighters in Ontario. The other's 36,000 certificates. So how many certificates does each one need to get? It's hard to read from this letter.
Yeah.
How well the province is doing over. I mean, is there even gonna be? How realistic, I think Bob, our chair speaks to that a lot.
Yeah.
How realistic is it?
So at a very high level, what our basic requirement is they'll come in and they'll get their hazardous materials awareness certification, the hazardous materials operations certification, and then they'll get what they call firefighter 1 and firefighter 2. That meets that, those 4 meet the July 1st, 2026. The other wild card in there is our pump ops. So we've sent a lot through NFPA 1002 pump ops, and there's some of our firefighters will call it grandfathering, but they'll be okay to not actually take the certification, and some are taking it. So it'll lag a little bit and it will, although it still has a 2026 deadline, we can take a little bit longer. It just means they can't be pump operators.
Mhm.
We ultimately want everyone to be a pump operator, but we have a little bit of flexibility there.
Thank you.
Gary, do you have any?
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
Just one from me. For a brand new firefighter coming in under these new rules, how many years do they have to get certified?
So the regulation, Ontario Regulation 343 firefighter certification says that we can take up to 2 years.
Just 2 years.
2 years, which we don't need 2 years to do it. If we have access to training, we can have them trained. Could start them out in June and have them done by February is a pretty good and easy schedule. I'll say easy, they may not quite have the same perspective, but that's pretty realistic. So half a year. But then you throw life and jobs and families into that. That's where sometimes drags on. The downside of going that whole 2 years is the longer they come to us, the longer they wait and they don't respond. To be honest, they're all coming to us because they want to ride on the big red fire truck. So the longer we hold them back from doing that, the less engaged they become. So quicker we can get them through the process, the better for them, the better for us.
Sounds good. That's good. Sounds like we're doing good. Meeting the guy deadline, so. Okay, and 9.2, thank you, Plympton-Wyoming letter. You've all read that. Any comments on it or?
That's always nice to receive a letter like that from our mutual aid partners, and thank you to Chief Cousins. I guess he's always very thoughtful that he,
Very nice.
yes, so.
And I just got an alert. Rain coming expected in 1 hour.
Woo.
Where?
Yeah,
I
where?
ain't gonna look, I was gonna,
Probably at his cottage.
yeah, probably. Okay. All right, let's go to article number 10 on the agenda, new business. Let's start out with Mr. Mayor Gary Yaklis.
I don't know if it's important, but you missed that one.
Oh, yeah, that joint health and safety meeting, sorry, 9.3 there.
Placemaker.
Yeah, so no, there's no new minutes from our last.
It's kind of a stand. All right, I thought I better ask him. Thanks, Norman. Appreciate that. Okay, new business, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted through the chief, some of our neighbors around us are declaring fire bans. And I know there's been, like, especially on the weekend, a lot of backyard or pits and stuff like that. Have we, with the dry conditions, and I know hopefully we get some rain, but the dry conditions, what are the criteria before you issue a fire ban?
Through the chair, so there is no set criteria, just whenever you feel that it's too dry. I went through this in Middlesex and we came to the conclusion that it was a lot easier to do it as a county, to go county-wide with the ban. That takes some coordination and some people all agreeing with such a thing, but it's a lot easier to advertise and not get people confused as to if they're in a ban or not in a ban. So it just, in the last couple of days, the county chiefs have been going back and forth about it, and some are interested in a fire ban and some are not. My suggestion is that we need to sit as county chiefs and flush out how we're gonna work together on it or not, but I think we'd be better off to work together on and create some thresholds of when we actually get into a ban that we can all agree on, and then it's not just someone's idea, you know, it's actually done at a certain time, at their certain threshold, and we can keep it consistent.
Okay, no, that answers the question. As long as you guys are working on it, it's not gonna be forgotten, because I think with our dry conditions that we're experiencing not only now, but the way that the climate in the world, I think we're gonna be facing this more often. So as long as you have it on your agendas to talk about and maybe come back at a later date with what kind of is.
Yeah. for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, any other new business, Gary?
That's all.
Kristen, new business?
Oh, if I may, follow up on what the mayor spoke to, because I wanted to speak to that as well. I seen circulating on social media, and I don't know what form of government puts the map out, fire risk areas. I think that created a lot of buzz in itself, because the map included our as an extreme hazard. Are you familiar with that map? I can't pull it up right now to.
If you see it, if you don't mind sending it to me, if you do. see it.
Yeah, and so it's up for Ontario, and it shows where all the extreme risks are, and I don't know which level of government does it. Maybe that might be a guideline
Right,
to follow,
I
is
think
what
so.
I'm saying. It could be the Ministry of Natural.
And it's most likely that someone else
Yeah.
is already doing this work.
Yeah,
We just
exactly,
need to follow
exactly,
the right thing.
yeah. Yeah, okay, so that's all I had, thank you.
New business, Kristen?
No, that was my.
That was your new business? Norma, you got anything you'd like to talk about? No? Cole, you got anything you'd like to talk about? Chief Jordan, sure you must have something.
No,
Oh,
my golf game was a hell of a day, but.
oh. Chris,
I don't have anything, Mr. Chair.
Will, do you have new business?
A couple of things, District Chief Freer just looked up the date there. July 25th was the in-service date for ladder 3. Thank you for that. I just wanted to talk again about our operational guidelines. I can't remember, and I apologize if I shared this with you already, but it was pretty important. I think it's something this committee talked about, that the guidelines needed to be.
SOGs?
Yeah, well, ours are called operational guidelines, same thing,
Oh.
but just a terminology.
Yeah.
So they have all been gone through now. The committee sat and we've gone through all of them. I'm slowly implementing them so that people have time to read a few at a time. So come out for the firefighters and officers to review. And there's about 11 or 12 on teams now that are there for them to review, that have come out at different various stages. Basically, when something comes up, if I know it's in an OG that we've already looked at, then it triggers me to get it live and get the update out. Other than that, they could come out if nothing has come up, but it's just like, okay, that would be a good one to get out, and we're getting them out. But as opposed to having them all come at once. So the only exception to this would be the committee identified a number of other OGs that we didn't have that we need to work on. So I'm gonna say once we get all these new ones, new updated versions out, then we'll start to work on implementing some new ones. And unless there's something time pressing, then we could obviously bump that up, but I just thought you would probably appreciate an update on that.
Oh, that's good. Yep. We've been wanting that for quite some time. Anything else from you, Kristen?
Well, under new business, it talks about the fire budget. so
Yes.
We will have the floor.
Talk about the budget today.
Well, I can talk about the budget. We are
It was under new business, so I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I think
prepared.
we've been
Or is that a placemaker too?
well, it's internally, we're being told, start to get your budgets ready and
Yeah.
start to think about it. So we're talking as chiefs as to what we need to put in the budget, and then we'll come back with as usual.
I guess, if I may,
Yeah.
on the budget, you had kind of made a little hint there how you're rejigging things, which I'm not opposed to, but I do like. I don't know, I'm a detail person. I think it's the community's taxpayer money, and they should see what money is being spent on, and I know there's for efficiency and making things work smoother. I get that side of it, but I also get the side of the public. Would like to know where they're spent on, just for oversight, for transparency, not to scrutinize.
So
So when you were talking about the annual inspection and then repairs being all bottled into one, kind of makes it hard to know where you're at with certain things is all, I guess I was trying to get. When you clump things sometimes.
Yeah, well, and I'll just say that it is my belief, my understanding that it works a lot better. Maintenance expenses for a certain vehicle, that they go into one. We don't have a whole bunch of different expenses. Like, we don't need to break out if it's an oil filter and a grease
No.
job and a tire.
No.
That all needs to go into one account. So right now, our budget has a whole bunch of overlap. It was everybody knows this. It was the Wyoming budget and the Kimlaki budget. They're jammed together, and there's a bunch of duplication in it. There's some stuff that's out of date, not clear. So I think for transparency, we need to just rejuvenate it a little bit. And some of that will bring, we have a lot of accounts in there that are just zero all the time,
Mhm.
because we've already done this last year, where we've just started to use one account. So it won't, I don't think it will give less detail to our ratepayers. I don't think it'll give less detail to our committee, but if anything, it'll make things more clearer. Be much easier for me to manage, to see where money needs to come from and where we're at.
Okay, so basically what I hear you saying, it's not so much about, it'll still be defined by the vehicles. We don't just need to know every time. And that's what was important to me. Is knowing where those,
Yeah, for
where
sure.
that money is being spent all the time.
But
Yeah.
we'll have it for each vehicle, because that's a calculated process that we can go through on replacing vehicles,
Exactly.
is how
exactly,
much we're spending on maintenance.
Exactly, so
Yeah,
that's,
so that'll all be still
okay,
my intent, yeah.
right, so that's what I was trying to get to. Where is your clumping stop?
But it'll all come back here in your proposal anyways, right? So we'll see your, whatever you're doing here. That's it, Kirsten, the new business? That was it for you, chief, new business? Okay, couple of things, I'd like to change the meeting date in November from November the 3rd to November the 10th. Good?
One more deer gets to pay the bullet.
You got it, chief.
You say he's bringing coffee that day and donuts?
No, I was gonna say that,
He'll be away, honey.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna be away.
No, he will be.
Oh, he will.
I was gonna say the 10th or 17th, but Will couldn't be here on the 17th, so. That's okay with everybody?
I'm sorry, where was it?
To the 10th, November the 3rd to
Oh,
the
it
10th.
was the 3rd.
We're gonna have
Yeah.
venison.
That's okay with the committee? Yeah, don't see any opposition. Nicole, you can send us out a reminder for that, please. I was just gonna ask a question too, how's the old fire truck coming along?
1932.
1932.
I could speak to that one. It's currently in Sarnia with the new motor in progress of being installed. We're hopeful it will be ready for the parade at the fall fair. It will be tight though, so it might not be ready for this year, but yeah, it's actively being worked on, and the shop it's at does not have any type of air conditioning in it, so it's some evening work and when it's cooler, so yeah, it is being worked on right now. It's not in Wyoming Station, and bringing parts that's as required are being dropped off with them to get it put back together.
So we're moving along. That's good. Another question I had, the MTO, have we still no problems with getting reimbursements from the MTO? Or have we had many, or
We haven't had too many lately.
have we had any lately?
I just invoiced one the other day.
Okay, but we're not having any more problems with that. It gets paid.
We also, we're working towards a new system that would allow us to bill for those non-resident calls that we don't know if we maybe used to bill and then for some, at some point perhaps stopped billing. I don't know that for sure, but we have to be part of it's called Aries, the system.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems to be a long process to get back into it or into it, so we're working on that. So we'll see hopefully some revenue from that as well.
So if I'm hearing you clearly, you're suggesting, we've talked about this before, I believe. If there's a car accident, they're non-resident, we go after them or their insurance company. So we go after them or to go after the insurance company?
It goes straight to the insurance, I believe. I'd have to look, yeah, I think.
It's like, it could be pretty expensive if it went right to the driver.
Yeah, I think it's already in our fee schedule, so I don't think it's an
We
issue.
talked to,
We have talked about this, let me make sure, Mr. Chair. But we talked about it with home insurance. I don't remember the vehicle portion, because I did mention. Because I had noticed that insurance companies for home insurance at any rate have now started adding a clause in where they will not reimburse for fire response. So I don't know, do we know if auto vehicle has that same type of thing happening now?
No, I don't know that.
So it might be worth checking into too. Just because home insurance caught onto that whole thing. And it,
we trying to think about, like, we talked about. Remember, there was an outfit that would actually go and collect insurance for house fires, right?
So that's not this.
yeah,
That's different. This is a different topic.
Yeah.
this is for auto versus. home.
This is just basically instead of us getting information and billing it to the MTO,
Yeah.
send it straight through to their carrier. On the 402, it would end up going that road anyways. We're just not doing it through the MTO secondary roads.
But if you're a resident of Plympton-Wyoming,
That's what you pay taxes for, yeah. So no bills would go to residents.
okay. Where are we here? I just went here. Fair community, GO.
So on this MTO billing. If you were in an accident on the 402, you're sending a bill to the MTO currently and you're just trying to figure out a way to. Like, I'm so lost right now.
So on the MTO, on the 402, we bill the MTO
Mhm.
and then they chase the people around.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
So what happens, we used to be able to go to people and say, I'll take your ownership and information. Now that's all protected. So we have to be on this new system to get the information.
Good.
Okay, then, nobody else has anything, okay? Moved by Kristen Rodriguez, seconded by Gary Atkinson, the Fire Exec Committee adjourns until September the 8th, 2025 meeting at 5 p.m. or the call of the chair. All in favor? Gary, thank you.